So it's been a hot minute since I've done a proper rant video. Generally I don't like to do these anymore anyway, but I just need to talk about this. First off, just for the sake of context, I'm on the autism spectrum and I live in Finland, so yep, there you go. So I just found out about some law change proposition that the Finnish government introduced that looked to be promising some not so fun changes to the rights of autistic people here in Finland. Now, when it comes to the Finnish legal system, what we have here is a set of laws called the SORA laws. Not like the AI. But to my understanding, they're like a set of laws regarding like human rights and whatnot. And effectively, these laws state that if you have like a specific condition or suffer from a specific problem, you wouldn't be allowed to work in some select fields. If, for instance, you were blind, you wouldn't be allowed to drive a vehicle. If you were a drug addict, you wouldn't be allowed to handle medicine. Makes sense in that regard. But here's the big thing. According to these new law change propositions, autistic people in Finland, if these propositions were to come into effect, wouldn't be allowed to study a degree or work in select fields. The medical field, for instance, autistic people couldn't study to become nurses, for one thing. And when I heard about this, as an autistic person myself, probably goes without saying, I just went like, what the fuck? I guess I should only be so surprised, given the bullshit that the Finnish government has pulled within the last year, cutting the benefits of unemployed people and whatnot, but that's kind of beside the point of this video. But yeah, you can probably guess what my problem is with these law change propositions. I feel like the fundamental thing about autism that the Finnish government is forgetting in this case is that it manifests in a unique way in almost every single person that has it. No two autistic people are the same. It's called a spectrum for a reason. Like, sure, there are autistic people that have actual issues preventing them from functioning in society in the same way that a neurotypical would. But at the same time, there are also the autistic individuals that are just as capable as your average neurotypical person, myself included. And as someone who represents that particular demographic of the Finnish autistic population, these law change propositions just make me so incredibly fucking mad. You can't even begin to imagine how mad. And the other thing about autism is special interests. The obsessive nature of that interest, whatever it happens to be. Picture this, if you will. If an autistic person living in Finland, for instance, had a special interest in medicine, the medical field, and these law propositions came into effect, the Finnish government is essentially telling that person that they cannot study a degree or work in the medical field simply because they're autistic. And that then presents a conflict because the person's special interest is in the medical field. That's effectively robbing that person of the opportunity to turn their special interest into a job that they're probably gonna love and do for the rest of their life. And that, in my opinion, is not okay in the slightest. Granted, once again, autism does manifest in every single individual that has it in a unique way. There are autistic people that couldn't work in the medical field for one reason or another. Definitely not saying that from personal experience. But again, because it's a spectrum, the fundamental flaw with these law propositions is that it generalizes the autistic population to a point where they're downright discriminatory. And to put this into perspective, the Finnish legal system in the last few years has done wonders for the rights of trans people, for instance. But to now introduce law propositions that do the opposite for autistic people That's where I start having a problem. It doesn't make sense to me to advance the rights of one minority demographic while going backwards on the rights of another. That's not the way a modern inclusive society is meant to function. So with all that said, here's my message to the Finnish government. First of all, fuck you for even thinking about this. Second, these law propositions, these changes, they cannot, I repeat, they cannot be placed into effect. Because if they do, you're only gonna show yourselves to be complete fucking hypocrites. If you're gonna work towards advancing the rights of trans people in Finland, autistic people and other minorities are gonna expect the same treatment. Because ultimately everyone should be equal in the legal system. And this is not the direction to be walking to get there. So yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. I'm out.